Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I'm super excited to announce that on January 5th, I'm going to be freely gifting each of you my very first book, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. In the book, which was initially shown to me in a dream and has been followed by a next level amount of synchronicity, by the way, I share the keys to manifesting abundance that I've personally discovered over 20 plus years of trial, error, and deep exploration of these perspectives, as well as one golden key that ultimately ties them all together. Also, I would like to invite you to participate in a unique abundance manifestation experiment with me and the other readers that is outlined in detail at the end of the book and at the book's website, goldenkey.gift, where readers will also share the inspiring results of their abundance manifestation experiments. So if you're wanting 2021 to be the year that you alchemize the circumstances in your life so that your abundance expands to an entirely new level, head over to goldenkey.gift to sign up to accept my golden gift right when it comes out on January 5th. All right, all you positive heads, welcome back to another episode. Here we go again. It is a magical Monday as I record in the studio, and I'm starting the week off super magical because I have the magical Sonya Sophia here with me. I've used the word magical 4 times now in the first 30 seconds. Hello, magical Sonya, for the 5th time. How are you?
Hi, Brandon. So happy to be back with you.
Oh, so happy to have you. And for those of you who haven't ever caught any of the episodes with Sonya in the past, Sonya runs the World Tapping Circle and is an EFT practitioner, emotional freedom technique, or tapping. If you're, maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. Maybe you can give you a real quick description of what tapping or EFT is, Sonya, for anyone who's brand new to your work.
Sure. Tapping is a meridian-based self-healing technique that allows you to put all this great stuff that you're learning in this podcast to use, meaning that you can take these thoughts and all the feelings that it stirs up inside you and process that stuff, get it out of your brain, get it out of your body, and get these new habits and these new positive thoughts installed in your brain really quickly. So it's a way to sort of defrag your head and get in alignment with your truth.
Yeah, and it's something, it's such a simple, I always say it's a very simple sort of physical activity to go with a lot of the mental gymnastics we do on the show. It's a great way to, sort of the other side of the coin, doing something physically that's very simple to integrate. And for those of you who are kind of curious as to what that physical activity is, tapping, you'll see here in a few minutes, because we're actually going to do a little mini tap at the end of today's episode. And and Sonya's been co-hosting with me, every month or two for quite some time. And I absolutely love having Sonya on. And a lot of P-heads have went and actually joined up with the World Tapping Circle, as we'll talk a little bit about at the end, and have reported back some really, really powerful benefits. I know when I first was exposed to tapping, seeing you at Burning Man at Red Lightning there a couple years, so many people having such emotional releases. It's so interesting when you realize that emotions are stored in the body, and this is a way to free those up, those blockages. And it's so simple yet so profound. So yeah, we're going to do it. Actually, a tap today after we talk a little bit about this impending holiday season upon us, and for a lot of people that causes a significant amount of stress. You're around family members. I mean, I just had a listener friend of mine messaging me this morning. I just landed in Denver, and my family, I've got to prepare because my family's going to be talking about Trump all week, and this sort of it's actually something, Sonya, you and I were just talking about. Everyone's got the psychedelic black sheep in the family, and then now you come together and you deal with these different energies that are in totally different perspectives on reality, and it can be tense. As Ram Dass says, if you think you're enlightened, spend a week with your family. Well, there's going to be a lot of that, not only for Thanksgiving here right around the corner, but then you have the Christmas holiday, Hanukkah, all the stuff. This is just that time of year. So we want to talk a little bit about, one, tapping into gratitude, and two, dealing with some of that, those different familial energies, if you will.
Right. Well, a lot of people feel stress around the holidays, and it's hard to be grateful. It's hard to give gifts and receive gifts when it stirs up old memories and old feelings, and, the family story that gets told every year at Thanksgiving dinner that still isn't funny, and you're like, wow, if you listen to that subject of that story about, when you did the stupid thing, or when you forgot this, or and you're like, why are we still talking about this? It's just cringeworthy. Yeah.
Right.
And the reason why people are still bringing up those old stories is because they're not processed yet. And so the way a lot of people try to process stuff is by airing that story again, with the subconscious desire that somehow there's forgiveness, there's completion. And the best a lot of us can do is nervous laughter, or just kind of gulping and pass the lemonade, or pour another glass of wine, or
pass the vodka.
The pumpkin pies are burning.
Pass the bottle.
But there's an alternative to that, and I want listeners to know that we head back to home, wherever that is, and we face our roots, and we, year after year, and sometimes we avoid it, but year after year, we have this inner kind of calling to go back and see if we can finally get some closure or completion or some healing with our families. And I think there's one of us in every family that people who are, saying, open-minded and alternatively minded are sprinkled far and wide, which has the effect of making us feel kind of like outcasts and lonely in our families of origin.
Right.
And we tend to seek family outside of our family, in our chosen families, in communities like this one, that, this Positive Head Network is, substituting for a family in a certain way where we would have been nurtured for these thoughts. And we
Right.
go back to our families being like the odd one out, and then trying to find our way into feeling accepted and loved and respected for who we are, and engaging in conversations that have more depth and meaning. And it can be very frustrating. I, for one, used to always busy myself in the kitchen. I would much rather, I'll paint the spare bedroom while I'm here, versus talk about politics or religion or even what's in the food.
Right.
And
yeah, that's a big one for a lot of people, who are vegan diets, or really, working on the health side of things. And then you show up and it's so much, I come from, a Southern family. I mean, some of the food that's there, man, I mean, it's intense.
Yeah. Vegan diets, or even just gluten-free diets, or organic diets, just non-GMO related diets, even people who are doing paleo and aren't going to do a lot of grains and stuff. So
right.
It's a big deal.
It is. And, one of the, of course, with Thanksgiving here a few days away at this point as we record, gratitude being such an important piece of the puzzle with that holiday. And, of course, it's the roots of Thanksgiving, although questionable. It doesn't mean, I think for some people, they think, okay, we need to sort of turn a nose up at this holiday because, because of the roots and the real sort of story and things behind it. But really, a lot of things that have turned into something beautiful maybe have not so beautiful roots. And I think it's really important to let's make the most of what it is. Let's use it as a time to show thanks for all of the wonderful things that we have in our lives, and really take a moment and appreciate the fact that your family is there to offer that contrast. And even though you may not fully agree with some of the things that are going on, they're not going to always be there. And they're certainly, I can take my own family. We're certainly on different pages, many of us, but at the end of the day, there's an underlying love and respect. And, one day, my parents may not be there. And, even though my father and I do not even come close to agreeing on spiritual matters and things like that, it's like, there's so many other things to focus on and be grateful for. So, it's a great test, I feel like, to go into the holidays and say, okay, there's going to be a lot of things I could focus on that I'm not going to, I don't agree with or appreciate about these family members I'm going to be interacting with over the holiday season. But why don't I focus on the things I do? And it's like anything, what you give it to, where attention goes, energy flows. So I use it as an experiment, a time to say, okay, let's do a little test. Let's play with the universe here. Let's see if I give a lot of attention to what I want to see more of out of this person, and give very little attention to that which irks me or rubs me wrong or bothers me. Let's see how that affects how they show up in my movie and in my reality, right? And I think you'll find that you actually have influence over what version of them shows up with your energy. And it's, I always say everyone is a prop in your movie. You're the lead actor, director of your own private universe, your own private movie that is your life, and start playing with these concepts in a way where you sort of help to write the script as to how they show up by focusing in a direction of what you want to see more of from them.
Absolutely. One thing I'd like to highlight for people is that, believe it or not, your thoughts are being picked up by the people around you, even if they don't consider themselves to be telepathic, even if they don't consider thoughts to be real, other than something that happens very privately inside of our own heads. The truth is that your thoughts are creating an energy that emanates from your whole body, not just from your head. And that energy is picked up by everyone and everything, whether that be children on the floor or animals in the room or your mom in the kitchen. There are people who are sensitive to that in your family, and actually everybody is. So even if you aren't looking at them and there's no obvious facial expression, what you're thinking is affecting the outcome. And when I'm in a triggered state, I'm not thinking very useful thoughts. I'm actually thinking kind of mean or icky thoughts or distrustful thoughts. So that's putting an energy in the field. And what I want to tap with the audience today is what to do in that situation when you're already a little bit triggered, you're accidentally already involved in the like, oh my God, I can't wait to get out of here thought.
Right.
And your family's feeling the energetic force field while you're smiling and chewing your food and, trying to figure out how quickly you can get out of that conversation. That there's an alternative to that where you can actually bring acceptance and love into yourself first. And then as that takes effect, you can start bringing love back into the field and you'll watch the dynamic shift.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a wonderful, wonderful tap and focus, and very timely and perfect. So we'll get to that here in a moment. One thing I wanted to add to what you were just saying is it's so true. We often think that we're just processing information through the five senses, right? When in reality, now they're taking pictures, with what is it, Kirlian photography, and they can see the auric field around, living beings, including you. And what's happening when you are interacting with anyone, you're not just processing information at the level of those five senses that we know of. You have these chakra centers that are in this auric field that is reaching out and connecting with everyone around you, and you're transmitting information back and forth. All this, communication at these other levels is going on, which is why you can be around someone and have that, I don't know why it is, I don't feel good about this person, what I don't like, because energetically, people are always giving themselves away and communicating back and forth. So when you think about that, it's such a key point that you made, Sonya. If you're sitting there and you're stewing and feeling negative and thinking negative thoughts and, disliking someone, that's all being felt, whether consciously or subconsciously. Sometimes it's so palpable, people can see it through the five senses, right? But other times it's just happening at these subconscious levels. And it's, as a result, you're influencing, what comes out, what happens, how they show up. So it's a great sort of, somewhat scientific tie-in, maybe some would say pseudo-scientific tie-in to why this whole idea works, that you can, you're affecting others with what you're thinking, feeling, and projecting.
Right. And I want people to realize that they're so much more powerful than they realize. Not that they're solely responsible for how things go in a conversation or over dinner, but that they have the power to redirect the energy to a more loving and useful and connected kind of flow. Yeah. And that they're not a victim because dad said the stupid thing or your brother did the thing, your sister did the thing. That you actually can take that feeling that's actively happening inside the conversation inside you, and instead of just shutting it off or excusing yourself or kind of launching into your own, boundary, verbally pushing them away with, don't you tell me this again, that you actually have a new option, which is to take that moment, accept it for a moment, let your body help you quickly digest what just happened, and then make a new choice. Yeah. And you don't become a spiritual warrior without some training, right? So think of it like that. Let's gamify this a little bit. Let's make it fun. Let's play with creating how people show up. We're putting ourselves into the fire to be molded and crafted. And what better play, like Ram Dass said, these are the people that test you the most oftentimes, that push all the buttons, that know every part of you. That's why they're in your life, is to help you get your craft down, to become skilled and know what is it. There's another quote that's perfect. It's like you don't become a sailor without difficult seas, or something to that effect, right? And it's the same kind of thing. It's like you need that trying circumstance to really get good at maintaining your own vibration. So speaking of, why don't we, I think now, Sonya, would be a good time to move into the next part of this, where you're going to give us a little mini tap, a sample tap to help people with this process. And I'm looking forward to it. Okay, good. So this is a do it at home while you're listening kind of exercise, something practical that you can do. I'm going to do two things. So first of all, I'm going to give you what I call a pre-tap, where you're basically going to pre-process some of your expectations, because as you know, what you expect is what shows up. So if I go into a family situation with some reserve or some dread, I'm sure to have that come meet me face to face.
Right.
So I'm going to help you process that. And then we're going to talk about what you can do actually while you're sitting at the table. And should anything weird happen, or, during the game or whatever you guys do, you can excuse yourself, or you can clandestinely do this under the table and process it in real time and maintain your poise, your grace, and continue to facilitate the flow of love.
Wonderful.
Okay. So Let's just do a little tap on maintaining an attitude of gratitude. The first thing I'd like you to do is to take one or two hands, depending on what you're doing right now. If you're driving, just use one hand. And find your collarbones, drop down about 6 inches, and press around in the front of your chest until you find a little tender spot in the front of the chest. In your upper breast tissue or upper lymphatic system, you just move your fingers around and you'll be like, oh, wow, that's a little tender. Why is that sore? And you want to start by rubbing on that, giving yourself a few deep cleansing breaths. And the kind of breath we like to use in tapping is kind of the breath you would use when you're sighing. So in through the nose, out through the mouth, and relax your jaw so as much energy can release as possible. So I'm going to give you some words to say. Listeners, edit these words so that they more perfectly fit your scenario, and we'll do a call and response, okay? So massaging the front of your chest, big, deep, noisy exhalation. And repeating after me. Even though I'm about to go see them for the holidays, think about who you're about to go see. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Now tap your eyebrows. I'm about to go spend time with, and then say who that is. Tapping the beginning of your eyebrows with one or two hands. Big deep breath. Slide down your eyebrows to the edge of your eye socket, tapping on the temples. I'm going to go spend, and then however much time, like 3 days or a day or 3 hours, I'm going to go spend this amount of time with who? Tap the cheeks, right on the cheekbones, front of the cheeks. Part of me expects what? Just blurt it out for 10 seconds. What are you expecting may happen? I'm expecting to get in a fight with dad about religion, or mom about politics, or what is it, unsavory thing that you might be subconsciously expecting to happen again? Now tap under the nose, above the lip. This expectation, name it again. What is this negative expectation that you might have? And tapping under the lips on the chin. I accept the part of me that expects it to happen again like it happened before. Big deep breath. Tap your chest. When I think about how it went, I feel, and then describe how you feel when you think about what happened in the past. For example, I feel anxious. Tap the bottom of the rib cage, right where your ribs stick out the most in front, on the last couple of ribs. Big deep breath. Just tuning into the feeling that comes up for you when you think about what may occur. Now tapping the side of the ribs, nipple height, side seam of the body. You can cross your arms like you're giving yourself a hug and tap that way, or you can tap with the back of your knuckles on the side of your rib cage. I accept the part of me that feels overwhelmed, anxious, or even a little fearful when I think about, and then say what exactly it is, like seeing my brother or dealing with my sister. Big deep breath again. Inside of the wrist, on the wrist bone. So flip your hand over, looking at your wrist on the little finger side of your wrist. So if you move your wrist up and down, your wrist bone will pop up and down. Tap right there on your wrist bone. That's a heart point, and each one of these points stimulates a meridian, helps the energy release through the body and release from your cells and your brain tissue. I accept the part of me that's not looking forward to what? So name it again. What is it that you're dreading? Okay, now put your hand like you're going to karate chop something, looking down at the side of your thumb, right at the side of your thumbnail, the tip of your thumb. I accept the part of me that expects, and name that expectation again. Maybe you expect a few things to not be so great. Index finger, this expectation. Think about it again. Tapping the tip of your index finger at the side of your fingernail. Middle finger one more time, thinking about this expectation of meeting with these people and how it might go wrong. Now you're going to flip and do the bottom of your fourth finger at the tip of your fingernail, okay? And back to the inside edge of your little finger, right at the side of your fingernail. I love and accept myself, even if all of this happens and it ends up, and then describe worst case scenario. It ends up in tears, or it ends up with me feeling like I wasted my holiday. Big breath. Tapping the side of your hand. I'm open to the possibility of releasing any negative past experiences that have happened over Thanksgiving with, and then say who you're going to see, my family, my uncles, my aunts, my grandparents. Big breath. Now tap the top of your head. I'm open to the possibility of creating something new this year. What would you like to create? So this is how we're going to use our expectation to project a positive outcome instead of a negative outcome. I'm open to the possibility of creating more fun. Tap the sides of your head and helping to facilitate love. And tapping the back of your head, I'm giving myself the possibility of having some loving, meaningful connection with these people. Sharing with them parts of my life that they can hear in a way that they can hear and connect with it. Okay, tap the eyebrows again. I'm allowing myself to be inspired. Tap your temples. Connected. Big deep breath. Tap the cheeks and still honor my authentic self. Tapping under the nose. I'm allowing myself the possibility of having a good time. Tapping under the lips. Of bringing a sense of play and joy into the conversation. Big breath. Tap the chest. I'm allowing myself the possibility of feeling grateful for this opportunity. Tap the front of the ribs. It's safe for me to do this. And tap the side of the ribs. It's natural for me to do this. Big breath. Inside of the wrist, I'm allowing myself the possibility of really enjoying this holiday. Imagine what it would feel like to really enjoy it, not just survive it or deal with it or get through it, but to really enjoy it. Big breath. Side of the thumb, let's do the thumbnail. We're almost done. I'm allowing myself to feel like I got exactly what I needed. Tap your index finger to take really good care of myself by, what are 3 things you could do to take good care of yourself while you're on this holiday? Maybe planning the timing really well, or taking some walks in nature. Tap the middle finger. Drinking enough water, staying hydrated with all the coffee or alcohol or sodas or whatever people are drinking. Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. How about this one? Not eating too much on Thanksgiving Day. Not stuffing myself, but actually eating a proportional amount of food to my level of hunger. Not feeling obligated, yeah? Big breath. And tap the little finger. I'm allowing myself to help facilitate the flow of love on this day and to express gratitude to each person there. What would that be like? How would that fuel the vibe for you to find one thing specifically about each person to compliment them on, to let them know? Tap the side of your hand. So imagine going up to your aunt and saying, you know what? I love that you always bring this pie. It's my favorite. Imagine going up to your dad and saying, Dad, I noticed that you mowed the yard to make this place nice. Thank you for what you put into making this home a good place to be. Or saying to your mom, thank you so much for setting such a lovely table or for inviting us over again. I know it's a lot of work. All right, tapping all over your body. I'm giving myself the possibility of really enjoying and creating my own positive experience of the holidays. Really enjoying, tapping all over the body and creating my own positive experience of holidays. Big breath. Now that should help you. and to check it, just tune in and notice how you feel now about going and doing your holiday plans.
Wonderful, 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 wonderful. So yeah, and what's great is you can always come back to this recording, right? If okay, Thanksgiving's over, here comes the next round of holidays. What episode was that again? So make sure you bookmark it if you need it. And yeah, thank you so much for doing that, Sonya.
You're welcome. Now, I said I would teach you one other little magic trick, right?
Oh,
so
we
you
like
got
magic
a taste
tricks.
You got a taste for tapping, right? And you can see how you can use one hand to tap on the other hand. But if everyone takes their thumb and index finger and taps them together, that's essentially what we were doing just now with one hand tapping on the other one. And notice that you can stick your hands under the table and tap your fingers together, index and thumb, thumb and middle finger, thumb and fourth finger, thumb and little finger. And you can just go through that sequence like a little miniature tapping point. And say somebody's bringing up a subject that feels stressful and the old family story that isn't funny, or somebody brings up religion or politics and you're thinking, oh no. You can actually just sit there and breathe, tap your fingers together under the table, stay present in the conversation and accept the sensations that the conversation is giving you. So, oh, I noticed my stomach is tightening. Big breath. And you just notice and give yourself empathy for the part of you that wants to shut down or say something. And as you give yourself empathy for whatever your internal dialogue is or your internal experience, you will neutralize your reaction. And when you're in a neutral place, it's much easier for you to have choice instead of reaction. You can still get up and clear the table, but you're not doing it in a huff. Or you could also change the subject, but not abruptly, but lovingly bring in another topic and swirl the conversation into a place that's easier for the family. So this is a way that you can process clandestinely.
Perfect. I love that. Now, you know, one of the things, and of course, over the year or so since you've been coming on the show, many of the Positive Head listeners have taken advantage of the very generous offer that you've put out exclusively for Positive Head listeners to join the World Tapping Circle. And so for those of you who don't know and haven't heard about it or just need a reminder, the World Tapping Circle is what Sonya runs she basically does every Monday evening a live circle with people from all around the world tapping together, and they go through different releases, right? This is just using holidays as an example, but there's so many deep-seated things that oftentimes people aren't even aware of. Like I said, my first in why I reached out to Sonya to bring her on the show like I have was because I witnessed it firsthand with thousands of people, at Burning Man having one of, or the biggest workshops in all of Burning Man. How many people did you say you saw this year, Sonya?
About 3,000.
That is huge. That is a huge number of people. That had to be the biggest workshops at Burning Man. And it's for a reason, because people are having these incredible emotional releases. And you can even go back to my original interview with Sonya and hear her own story, how tapping transformed her anxiety and, her life in general and why she started doing this work. But yeah, other than that, Sonya, what do we have, as co-host extraordinaire? You've definitely earned the right to the DJ booth today. What do you got queued up musically for us?
Well, a beautiful song called River, and I think you're going to like it. It's, cleansing us of ego and pain and getting back into the flow of love.
And this is by Abei, right? Who I saw... it's funny, when you first named this song, I actually had an intuition you were going to name this artist for some reason, or Yaima for some reason, both of which I've seen before live at festivals. And this is a couple of twins who are just fabulous. And I even thought when you first mentioned the song, I'm like, didn't I play this song before? And I searched and I didn't. And it's like, I could have swore I did. So I'm glad that you're bringing it, because I love this duo and I love this track. So hope you guys love it as well. And I guess until next time, I will be thinking of all of you over the holidays. Well, I'll be back before the holidays, but Sonya will be thinking of all of you, even those of you who don't join her for, a tap in the World Tapping Circle, sending lots of love, I'm sure. And just make sure that you keep it as cool and in the flow as possible. You are being trained as a spiritual warrior. So good luck with your training. Love you all. Until next time, journey well.
Thank you.
Also, before we cue up today's song, I wanted to remind you about the game with the universe on our website, where you can choose the first number that comes to your mind and it'll pull up that episode number of the podcast. I've been saying this is a great way to co-create synchronicity and magic with your higher self for quite some time. And if you go to positivehead.com/universe, there is a super fun and simple interface to play this game with your higher self. I firmly believe just by setting the intention to play in this way, it opens up the door for magic, and it's a synchronistic way to hone in on nuggets of wisdom out of the huge catalog of episodes that are specifically appropriate for you at this time in your journey to becoming the next greatest and greatest version of yourself. And it also makes for a super fun way to spark the curiosity of friends and family by having them choose a number, so they'll hopefully go and check out their number as well, which I greatly appreciate because it helps us to spread the word about the podcast. Once again, the address is positivehead.com/universe. And as a quick reminder, if you're curious to learn more about Purium superfoods and why I take them almost every day, be sure to also check out positivehead.com/transformation. On this journey of becoming the next greatest and grandest version of ourselves that we have all embarked upon, I cannot stress the importance of managing your physical vibration enough. And quite honestly, Purium has put together the simplest plan I've found to do so. I have my favorite, the appleberry shake, at least 5 times a week. Once again, to learn more about the Purium transformation, go to positivehead.com/transformation. Or if you want to keep it simple and just try out my favorite, the appleberry shake, you can go straight over to ishoppurium.com and be sure to use code positivehead for 25% off. I'll spell that for you. It's ishoppurium.com. And be sure to use your Positive Head 25% coupon code.
river, wash my soul. I will come to your river, wash my soul. I will come to your river, wash my soul again. Carry away my dead leaves, let me baptize my soul with the help of your waters. Sink my pains and complaints, let the river take them, river drown them. My ego and my blame, let me baptize my soul with the help of your waters. Those old means, so ashamed, let the river take them, river drown them. Come to your river, I will come to your river, I will come to your river. Come to your river, wash my soul. I will come to your river, wash my soul. I will come to your river, wash my soul again. Carry away my old leaves, let me baptize my soul with the help of your waters. Sink my pains and complaints, let the river take them, river drown them. My ego and my blame, let me baptize my soul with the help of your waters. Those old me's, so ashamed, let the river take them, river drown them. Come to your river, I will come to your river, I will come to your river. Come to your river, wash my soul. I will come to your river, wash my soul. I will come to your river, wash my soul again.